Mother of God.
Oh, rip it up! What is up, guys? This is Lewis, strictly front wheel drive. I know it's been a long time since I posted a video. It's just been it's been crazy lately. I've had a couple of life things, if you will, I had to deal with, and I just couldn't really record much. But I'm back on track here with the Civic. I ended up getting the axles in. These are the insane shafts, 500 horsepower rating. I also ended up getting the karcept hubs to swap, and I test fitted them inside and they fit. So now what we're getting ready to do, these are pretty neat also because they have the ARP studs on them already extended, so they're going to be pretty nice for when I do get my slicks and all that stuff. So I'm just going to show you guys. That's one of the axles there. These are, I guess, chrome moly from what I'm reading. I don't need this tone ring. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to take it out or I'm going to leave it for the future if I ever wanted to add the sensor for controlled launch or whatever it is. This is just a hose I have here I bought from AutoZone the other day. I'm planning on turning up the boost, so that's going to be a major part of it. This box where the hubs came in, it came with these stickers. This is off of eBay, off a guy off of eBay. Came with 2 new bearings, and it came with some spacers, washers or whatever, but I was asking around, and you don't need these if you're going aftermarket, because I guess these are only from when you're using OEM on these hubs, so I'm not going to need it. So I'm going to ignore those and put them aside for now. This is just the other axle here. I haven't opened it yet, which I probably should, just to make sure that it's the right one. Let me just get the camera on the good old tripod here. Yeah, and basically what's been going on, guys, right now I'm on break from work, seasonal layoff. If you're a cement truck driver, and damn it, if you're a cement truck driver, you know exactly what I'm going through right now. It's just a tough time in the winter. There's not that much work, so you have to get seasonal layoff and try to find side work. If not, you're kind of hit. But I'm doing well. I always prep myself during the summertime. I make sure I put enough money away and all that stuff so I can make sure I'm good for the winter. What the hell do they put these? God, I'm looking at the same thing. Put so much tape on it. But yeah, I had work, Christmas parties and all that. Hope you guys had a great Christmas, New Year's. I hope this year brings you guys nothing but positive vibes, positivity. Alright, so this is the other side here. Make sure the camera's in here. What does this sticker say? Inboard housing installation. Oh. Here's installation instructions. Center C-clip inboard housing. Grease before installation. Do not use excessive force against clamp. Blah blah blah. Transmission during driving. Damage, the condition listed, instructed. Alright, so we're going to keep that just in case, because it looks like there's I got some new stickers. Oh, look at that. You know, you guys know how I like stickers. I don't get sponsored by any of these companies that I put on my car, but I just think they look cool as shit. So I end up putting them on. So now I got 2 karcepts stickers I can throw on, as well as Insane Chef stickers. So I will be throwing those on. I'm going to set them aside so they don't get damaged. Actually, I'm going to throw them over here because I don't want them to be next to the heat. I ended up getting a new heater for the garage. It's a propane heater. It's kind of cold in here, so this helps. So basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take this wheel off and I'm going to get started. I have to take the caliper off, take all the ball joints, the nuts off and all that stuff, and proceed to take the knuckle out. And I went to Harbor Freight just now and I ended up getting a 20-ton press for pretty cheap. So that way I can take the hubs off, old hubs off, put the new ones on with the new bearings and press them in. So I'm just going to get to that right now, guys. And you guys could just hang out for the ride. I have here the Craftsman breaker bar, the old school. If you can still get your hands on one of these while Sears is still open around you, here's the part number. I highly recommend getting one because this thing was 30 bucks and I have yet to find a bolt or axle nut or anything that will snap this thing, honestly. So you might be saying, why are they so loose? Well, because I didn't tighten them all the way from the first time. I just snugged them. Obviously I'm going to torque the other ones. You might be wondering how I did that without the wheel spinning, but it's because I have LSD. The other tire is still on the ground. Hint, hint. So that way it won't move and you can put all the pressure you want. It might not work for something that's really on there, stuck on there, but most of the time it works for me. It's that race car life. Extra careful with this caliper because that line is a little bit rusted at the joint up there. Alright, so next step is to remove the ball joints. Most of the time I can get this up here. Sometimes it works. The way I do this, a lot of people have their way of doing it. I see many ways of doing it. I take the tie rod out first. I just loosen the top ball joint control arm, the castle nut, just loosen it slightly so that way the tension stays on there. And then I'll loosen up the bottom ball joint, and I'll break free the bottom ball joint first. Once that one's broken free, then I'll worry about getting the top one. I'll show you guys real quick here. So you guys can't see. Hold on. I got a mess in this garage. Let me get the old snap-on light. So what I basically did here You can see how it's a little bit worn out here. When you're trying to take a ball joint out or tie rod or anything, you want to break it free. Hit the side of this with a nice hefty hammer. Never hit the ball joint itself. Hit the side of the mount where it mounts to, and eventually it'll pop free, and you'll be able to pick it right up. A little quick tip for you guys. I haven't yet met a car that doesn't work on. So if you didn't know, now you know. So now I'm gonna break the bottom one. You can literally see. Let me turn the light over here. You can literally see where it's worn out there on the bottom here. That's from hitting it. I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to whack it. See that? Popped right out. So now I'll leave that there, and I'll get to work on the top one. Because now, since it's still in place, the weight of the knuckle is weighing down on the top control arm. It's putting tension on that top ball joint. It's already broken loose. So the same thing. And there it is. Popped right out. So now what I gotta do is take I'm drawing a blank. The bolt for the wishbone here for the shock. And I believe one end is a 17, one end is a 19 because this side is weird. So turn this bad boy away from me a little bit. One thing I want to point out is when you have a nut and a bolt, and I'm just going to say this because a couple of my friends have broken ratchets and stuff, and even snap bolts because they're trying to loosen the wrong side. When you have a nut and a bolt, you always want to loosen the side with the nut on it, not the bolt side, because you're just going to be fighting it. It's never going to break loose on you. It might snap on you as well. So I get the nut off. If you have the stock Honda bolts like I do, the end of the bolt is rounded. So all you have to do is just pound right in the front of it. Do a couple taps. And it should pop right out with a little bit of wiggle. If it doesn't come out like mine, you can just use a screwdriver or a punch or anything. Tap it right out. I don't go crazy on those because they're fine thread. I don't want this strip on me. Good habit is always to put your nuts back on your bolts. That way you know what came where. So now the last thing is to pop the axles out. If your axle is stuck, don't ever do what I just did. I know these are going to be free because I had already put some grease in them, so I can tap them safely with a hammer. If your axles, if you give yours a couple taps and it doesn't want to come out, what you do is, damn it. What you do is you put the nut back on until it's somewhat flush. And then, well, not completely flush, but you want some gap away from it, and then you can wail on it with that. These things should pop out. If it's not popping out, it's because it's all rusted. The spines are all rusted. At that point, you're gonna have to put some heat around the hub, the inside here. Take the nut completely off, and then just throw some heat all in here in the crack. MAP gas works really well. Just heat it. You don't want to get it red hot. Just get it, you know, a little bit hot, hotter than normal. Knuckles should pop right out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go assemble my, and I might get rid of this shield as well, because this is all mangled here, and when I'm driving sometimes I hear it. I might just get rid of it. I don't daily drive it anyway, so I don't give a shit. So now what's going to happen is I have to take and separate this. I might clean up this inside here. I'll show you how I do it. But let me just go assemble the Harbor Freight press, and then I'll get back to you guys. Alright, so it's all built. I already got the spindle on here. So basically what I did is this wasn't, the middle part here isn't as open as the one I'm used to in the automotive shops when I used to work in auto shops. For those of you who don't know, I'm sorry, I'm a little tired. I was trying to get this thing together. Whew! For those of you who don't know, I was an automotive tech before this. I did transmissions, R&R transmissions, as well as brakes, brake lines, oil changes, all that stuff. So I have good knowledge when it comes to working on cars and stuff. So this, like I said, this wasn't as open as I'm used to. It's not open enough for the hub to just slide right down, so I had to lift it up. These are the stock plates that comes with it. So I just used a couple cement blocks I had laying around, hoping they'll hold up and they won't crack under pressure. We're gonna find out if they do hold great. If they don't, then I'm gonna have to figure something else out. But basically what I did is I just made some room for the hub to sit and enough for it to come down. It shouldn't need much. Once I begin to press it, that space between here and the bottom should be just enough to pop it out. If not, I'll just raise it up a little bit more with another block or something, because this is adjustable and I can go all the way down depending on how much I need. But hopefully that'll be good. So what I did is I positioned, it's the same side as this, but it's a lot wider circle. I just brought it in as close as I could on the inside of the hub, and I locked it in place there. Just pushed it all to lock it. What I have here is a, see if we can find the size for you. I have a 24 millimeter socket that's going to work well for the center of the hub. So basically it's going to sit right in the center there. You want a socket that's going to fit perfectly in there, and it's not going to be too big where it's going to get stuck into the actual bearing. So now I'm going to begin to start pressing it down slowly, and hopefully it should crack. Once I hear that snap, crackle, pop, that should be all good to go. I'm going to try to position the camera somewhere where I'm not in the way. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to lock down the press and start jacking down. Now what I can see off the rip here is it's not aligned. It's not center. You want it completely center. So I'm just going to go down to where it's close, and then I'm going to adjust it. So this can slide out and in, and I'm just going to push the blocks a little bit, tweak it, and then I'm going to make sure my hub has enough room, or the studs have enough room, because the studs do fit through the center of it. So I want to make sure that my studs are perfectly flat. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be somewhat center. So you want to just adjust it to where it's going to be somewhat center, and just make sure the studs aren't going to hit on the way down. Now I think I got it somewhat close there. Yeah, I'm going to begin to press. Hopefully it doesn't slip. Looks like it's slipping a little bit, but we're going to send it. See what happens here. Yeah, it's moving on me. Oh, it's moving, but it's working. So beautiful. So what happened here is the plate lifted up on me. I just put my hand. I mean, you shouldn't even put your hands anywhere near this stuff when you're pressing. But I was just trying to hold it down a little bit more, and it popped out fairly easy. Like I said, it didn't take much force at all. You can see the hub just laying on there was just enough room to pop it out, like I said. So now I'm going to take it all apart. I'm going to show you what the next step is. The biggest thing too is when they don't tell you in the book how to adjust these to make it level. So basically what I did was I put tension on it, brought it down, and I just took a measuring tape and I measured each side, you know, roughly in the middle or whatever. And I just adjusted the nut so that way the height was even on both sides. That just ensures that this bar is completely level. Because especially when you're pressing the bearings, you don't want this thing to be crooked, and then you go to try to press a bearing and you're pressing the bearing crooked, and then it ruins the bearing, and then you're wondering why you're going through bearings and stuff like that. I had that happen to me once, and I didn't understand why it happened because I had everything aligned. But then I ended up taking the bearing out because it was halfway crooked in there. I took the bearing out, and then I realized that the shop that I was at, the press wasn't completely centered, the bar, so I had to adjust the springs, and it leveled out on me, and I was able to reuse it without any issues. What I do wish this thing had is a spot to put the bar. I mean, I guess I could put it up top here. Alright, so I'm going to take this apart here. Oops, socket fell. I'm going to show you guys what the inside looks like. So that's the bearing. You can see in the light here. The race does come out. This is the same procedure if you're going to change the bearing, if you're not doing what I'm doing. This race right here gets stuck on here. This is the front part of the bearing. So what I usually do is I put this whole piece in a vice grip. I'll grip it underneath the studs here. See if I can show it in the light. I'll grip it right underneath these studs, and it should pinch it right here. The vice, not vice grips, the bench vice. And then I take a cutting wheel and I cut it sideways. So I put a slice in it, an angled slice. So that way I'll get somewhat down, and I'll get halfway down. Then you take a flat blade punch, and then you put it in that crack, and you hit it with a hammer. And that's going to split this race. Once it splits it, then you'll be able to pull it right out. You just got to be careful not to go too deep, because you'll end up cutting into this. It's fine. I've done it before where I've nicked it a little bit. It's completely fine. You'll be able to press it back in, no issues. But yeah, it's just a tip for you guys in case you're doing a bearing on a Honda Civic or something, and you pop the hub out and you run into this issue. So we're not going to be using the stock hub. What we want now is to get the bearing out. Now I have this C-clip here. It's fairly rusted, so I'm just going to throw a little bit of penetrating oil on this C-clip, hit it with a wire brush a little bit, and I should be able to pop my snap ring pliers in there and pop it right out. And then I'll show you guys what to do after that. Let me just get some penetrating oil real quick on this bad boy. Alright guys, so I was able to get the clip out. Here it is right here. And then you're just left with this. So now the bearing, the reason why this clip is on here is because that's the way the bearing's gonna have to come out. Obviously can't go out of the go out this side. It has to come out this way. So basically what I did is I took the flathead and I just banged on this side right here, on both sides, tapped them with a hammer and a flathead screwdriver, and then what it'll do is eventually it'll give out and fold. It'll like push out, and then eventually you can get it to where you're tapping on one side and it'll spin. That's when you know it's free. If it's not coming out like that, hit it with a wire brush, breaks free some more of that rust, and put some more penetrating oil. Let it sit like 5-10 minutes and come try it again. It should pop out. Worst case scenario, you got to use some some heat on it, but I might have to move it. But let me, now I'm gonna go try to find a socket that fits on the inside of this. Fits flat on the outside. You want it wide enough to fit. I can move out of the light here. You want it wide enough to fit around this, but not where it's going to get stuck in this center, the outer center. You want it just to fit on the bearing, so as wide a socket as you can find. I might have to go to my truck and get my axle nut sockets out of there. I'm not entirely sure yet, but if I do, I do. Actually, yeah, I do, because my axle nut sockets are in there. Alright, I'll be right back with you guys. Give me a minute. Alright, so I ended up getting out of my set a 39mm socket. It doesn't fit completely outside, but it's going to be just enough. I had to move the bar down so it can fit. So same thing. I'm going to press it down. I might have to go get another cement block depending on how far this press goes down. Good old snap, crackle, pop. And there she is. She spit her out. So that's the old bearing. The old bearing was still good. It wasn't making any noise or anything. It was a little bit dry, but other than that, it was fine. So the next step, what I usually do, I have a whole bunch of, there'll be some rough spots in here or whatever, like on the edges where it seats. I'll usually clean that up. I'll clean this up inside where the ring sits with some with a pick or a screwdriver or something, and get it all clean. That way it'll the new bearing will sit in there nice and nice, and the clip will sit back in its seat with no issues. So now I'm gonna go get the new bearing. Send it. I'm not gonna go. So I got it down. Now I gotta check. There's still just a little bit of room. Now don't worry about getting this stuck back in here, because it sits like flush before the point where it starts getting that tight where this is going to get stuck, so you can cram it right down, not worry. Start off straight and now I'm ending crooked. Oh no! Come on, little booger. This bearing is not cooperating. But we're still gonna send it. What are you, silly? So I'm just going to give it a little pressure. I don't hear any more pops or anything, so that lets me know that the bearing is all the way down. Now what's left to do is to put that snap ring back in. Bearing is completely seated. And then after we put the snap ring back in, then we can press the brandy new hub in. Now, what you want to pay attention to, I didn't go too crazy on the wire weight. I just gave it a quick run through just to knock off some of the stuff. There's a flat side, and then there's a kind of a rounded side. The rounded side you want facing up. That's important, because if not, it won't go in right. I don't think it'll go in at all. So now that went in smooth. Just want to make sure it's all around. It's all around, all the way in. And that looks like it's in all the way. Beautiful. So now it's time to press on the hub. Alright. So we got the hub. Now, important thing about this is you can't just press it in. Because what's going to happen is once the hub goes in... Is the camera up? No, it's not. Alright, you can't just press the hub in, because once the hub goes in, if you can see in here, there's two parts of the bearing. There's two races. What's going to happen is once it starts touching that back race, it's going to actually pop it out. So you don't want that to happen. So in order... I'm out of breath. Running around. So in order to stop that from happening, we're going to take the 39mm socket. I had to go grab my vape real quick, because you know, vape life. Fucking clouds. Fuck yeah, dude. Alright, so what we're going to do here, we're going to take the socket. I really hope I'm not in the way. We're going to put it in the middle. And then we're going to put a knuckle on top. And we're going to try to get the bearing centered on the socket. And we're going to get the hub, place it on top. Oh, I messed up again. You guys see that? You guys must be like, this fucking idiot. I'm trying here, guys. I'm trying. I'm trying for YouTube. I'm going to make sure it's centered. You're going to get the hub. Place it on said bearing. And I don't have to worry about putting anything on here because this is already flat enough. It's not going to damage anything. And it's wide enough where this isn't going to get stuck inside. But I've seen people where they do put a socket on it. But you know, we just send it around here. This is the part where I'm usually really sensitive about. Nothing rattles my brain more than this part. Beautiful. It's going in nice and smooth. listen. Keep listening, keep watching. Alright, so now it's no more clicking. I'm pushing down just a little bit. And right there, no more clicking. You don't want to really get that last crank. You don't want to crank it down too hard because you'll damage the bearing. Then what you do is you check it after. Make sure the bearing is nice and nice. Beautiful. No play. And that's our first hub. Exciting. Alright guys, so before we install the knuckle back in the car, you have to take the old axle out and pop the brandy new one in. Just like butter. So we're going to save that just in case we ever have an issue again. I can pop that bad boy back in. Now we're going to get a brand new one. Insane shaft, 500 horsepower chrome moly axles. They have the tone ring on there for the ABS sensor, but we're not going to be using it. But I'll tell you right off the bat, these things are just beautiful all around. You could tell right off the bat they're a lot beefier than the stock ones, especially around the neck here. Even the threads are bigger. It's a little bit longer as well. Feels a lot stiffer. Obviously this one's worn out, but I've had brand new axles that have the same play from AutoZone, I mean. Not too much to say about these. I mean, there's a part number on here, I think, but it looks very well put together. It wasn't half-assed at all. Looks very well assembled. I'm really happy. So, without further ado, let's get this bad boy in here. Beautiful. Alright, I'm going to run and get my torque wrench so I can torque this down. But other than that, she's pretty much all set. I'm not going to be able to use these lug nuts, so I'm not going to be able to put my tires back on. I was thinking of just cutting the top of them off so I can still use them, because they're not going to tighten all the way down, obviously, because they're extended. They go about there and stop, and it's not going to be tight enough. So I might just take my cutting wheel and just cut the back of the back part off, and just use them for now until I get some racing lugs. But that's pretty much it. She's in, the axle's on. I gotta torque down the nut. Other than that, she looks good. I got one more side to do, and that's gonna be it. So I'm gonna cut the video now. I'm gonna save you the boring repeat of doing the other side. Thanks guys for hanging out and watching. I'm just gonna get, like I said, I'm gonna get the other side on, and that's it for now. The B18, the turbo build I'm doing is still on hold. I haven't yet ordered the pistons. I was going to, and I never did. I ordered the hubs and my axles instead. Aside from that, I'm just going to be hooking up a boost controller and turning up the boost just a couple pounds, just for this season, just to see what it does, and just try to have some fun. Hopefully this season I won't break anything. Depending on, because I'm supposed to be getting this welder. I did order it, but come to find out, the company that I ordered it from, they said that they were out of stock till the end of January, so I probably will wait another week or so and give them a call and make sure the welder's in stock before I order it, because they had to reimburse me for the money. So there's a couple things, I probably mentioned it in another video, that I wanted to get fixed. I wanted to swap this out for a V-band name brand one, because this one's junk. It's not working the way it's supposed to, and I wanted to take care of this. I wanted to weld it to a different spot, or at least redo that weld, because I'm not too confident in that weld. That was a Harbor Freight Aluma weld rod that I used to put that that flange on there for the intake air temperature sensor. I would like to mount it on the intercooler itself, maybe on the turbo side, because I've heard it's more accurate there, but I'm not too sure yet. I have to wait and see when I get that welder. I do want to make my own catch can once I get the welder. I'm thinking about putting it here, and on that side I want to do my own fuel cell, maybe 1.5 gallon fuel cell, or a gallon, just enough to get me on the track. Or I might put this here and get a small battery. I'm not sure yet. I'm just gonna, play it by time. We'll see what the time looks like. I have a couple months until the season starts, so we'll see what I can get done. I'm gonna do one thing at a time, because I don't want the worst thing I could do is take it all apart, or take something apart and do a couple things and then not have it ready for the track. So I'm going to try to focus on one thing at a time and get one thing at a time done. That way, if the track time comes and I ran out of time, at least I can take it to the track as is. The biggest thing is the catch can. I want to do a catch can. I have to, but I need the welder. If I don't get the welder, I know a shop that'll weld the bungs on the valve cover for me. I'll get that done, and then I'll just probably order a catch can off of eBay and run the lines and do it that way. But we'll see what happens. It hasn't been giving me any problems with the low boost right now, with leaking oil everywhere or anything. So, and the stock catch can's on it anyway, so I'm pretty sure that's catching everything. And I haven't noticed any excessive oil leaking out of it anyway. So, yeah, we're gonna end it right there. Like I said, thanks for watching, guys. I'm truly sorry that I haven't been posting anything. You know how life is. Life gets you sometimes, and it's just hard to get these videos out for me. I don't do this for a living. I don't get paid for YouTube. I'm just doing this to help others. Maybe they have the same build as I do, or they're into the same thing as I am, and maybe I might do something they might catch, and it might be easier for them. They can learn off of it or whatever. But yeah, I'm not getting paid for this, so don't cry and moan because I'm not posting all the time. I do try, and I try my best when I'm making videos. So we're gonna end it here. It is 23 minutes into this video. Wow, I got a lot of editing to do on this one. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for hanging out. I'll keep you guys updated, and I'll make another video shortly, maybe. Hopefully.